In this video, I'll be explaining how I exploit recreational players. I'm playing 100 NL in a club. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but I just want to show my gameplay and explain how I beat these recreational players. All right, hope you guys enjoy and learn something from this video. Okay, I open fives this hand and the button calls. He's super short. So here's the thing. Here's my exploit. When you're playing against very short guys, very short stack guys, you want to bluff less because they are going to fold less when they're short stack. But on the flop, I'm not really bluffing. I am bluffing, but I also get overcards to fold, so I think I have to bet my fives here. He snap calls, which is bad. Like the range that snap calls is like an ace, a seven, or a flush draw, and none of these hands ever fold the turn. So I don't see the need to turn my fives into a bluff. He doesn't fold anything, and if I do bluff the turn, I want to make him fold a seven, and I have to bluff the river, and then he's probably not going to fold a seven. So I think this is just one of the game trees where you just lose, unfortunately. So sometimes you have to lose, so I just check and lose. He checks the turn, and then now I most definitely lose. Yeah, most definitely lose. If he has like some random shit, he's gonna bluff and I have to fold. You can make some cool play where he bets and then you jam like with the blocker, but that's kind of retarded. Don't need to do fancy shit against recreational players, like 76 VPIP recreational players with 25 blinds. Just don't have to make any plays. And when they choose pot, super under bluffed as well. Okay, next hand here we have jacks. I didn't top up. I make it 15 blinds. It's pretty big enough already. With the ante, I think you're supposed to squeeze a little bit more. Just fine, I think here. So the original raiser calls, and this guy I thought was a reg because he had some cool limping strategies. I think he calls. Yeah, this flop is not the best because this is another exploit. Like the ace high boards, like it's not the best for you to bluff because the recreational plays a lot of ace x. Like they have ace 10 off here. They have all the ace x suited. So the ace high board generally is not great versus recreational players, of course. However, when I have jacks, like I do still want to bet because they have 10s, they have 8s, 7s, flush draws, they have 6, 7, they're gonna call. They have like pocket fives that they'll call. But our sizing cannot be big here. I go over at B10. I think B10 works perfectly for our hand. We don't want to run into an ace and we get value from worse. And they're never gonna bluff. Will they bluff against this size with like maybe with 5-4 diamonds with the crazy equity draws, but they're never gonna bluff against the size with random air, so you're kind of protected as well. And you also have a lot of like legit snap calls if they try to bluff you. So you have like ace king, you have aces, you have ace queen, so you they're not gonna bluff into you because they will perceive you to have those hands. They both call, which is expected, and I think we're just done like with jacks. The flop multi-way, like if you did get value, that's the max amount of value that you would get, and we're just gonna check down and probably win a decent amount, but not a lot. So it's really interesting. Like no, actually no, it's not interesting at all. Like multi-way is too thin for jacks. Maybe if it was heads up in this pool, I would like sneak in a value bet on the river. They would call me with like 8s, 9s, like any pair if you bet small enough, but multi-way is just too thin. I mean, the guy has ace 7, and the reg, well, I thought it was a reg, has king 5 spade, which is, there's no minimum VPIP requirement on this table, so I don't know if he should like flat king 5 suited pre and then flat again and then call the B10 on the flop, which is drawing dead. So I think this guy is not a reg actually. But yeah, interesting hand. So this is a bomb pot. Everyone puts 5 big blinds in the middle. I have ace queen on ace jack deuce on the button. It's pretty bad. It's not the best hand in the bomb pot. However, this is super recreational pool. Like sometimes ace queen can be good. So there's a b10 stab, and then there's a kind of like a ISO to something pretty small. This is small for recreationals. Usually when recreationals have a hand they want to get in on bomb pot, they make it much bigger. That's why I called the ace queen here, because I think I'm good sometimes. If he had a better hand than ace queen, he might go bigger. So I call here. It's very marginal, I think, in bomb, but I think it's good. Okay, when the flush completes, I expect him to just jam a flush if he has one. Let's see what he does. So when he checks to me, I think I'm gonna bluff my hand. So this is like kind of like an exploit as well. When the flush completes, the recs are just insanely terrified of flushes. So what we can do is just when the flush completes, we always bluff. Even if we have some sort of fake showdown hand like ace queen, we can fold out ace deuce, jack deuce, ace king could fold sometimes. Maybe unlikely here. Even though you do have like a shred of showdown value, it's always better to just turn these hands into a bluff when they're super capped. Yeah, just recreationals just I don't really see recreationals having flush here, because with the b10 stab, if they did have flush draw, they will mainly just call. They don't ISO. And if they did like raise on the flop with the flush draw and it hits, they're not going to check often on the turn. So they rarely have a flush here, and they can only call flush. So if they never call anything, so if they can only call a flush but never have a flush, that means we should just turn every hand into a bluff. And that's what I do here. And he folds. Okay, next hand. This is not a bomb pot video, but it just so happens I have another interesting bomb. So what happened here? I have an ace on queen 7 ace. Obviously, it's not good enough to stack off. So here's the thing. In bombs, you should use really small sizes. Everyone's recreational here, so they never choose a size. They always like B75 or like half pot. When they choose that size, they're really unbalanced, because when they go big on bombs, they just never have a fold. You need to have a bet fold strategy in bomb to make the maximum. So here, this hand, I think it falls into the category of bet fold. It needs protection. It blocks like some 2 pairs. So blockers are pretty real here. Yeah, and they fold a lot. They're not gonna float too often. And if they have a hand they want to get it in, they just jam. Like if they have 2 pair or anything, they just jam. They make it really easy. Never bluff. They never bluff. So you can just do this. So I think everyone folds. Yeah, it's very good. It's very good to have small sizes. So we have 5s here. I open. By the way, I'd use 2.5x in anti-games. I think that's not the correct sizing in GTO, but the smaller the better. Like even min open is good, because the big blind has to defend hands like 7-4 off and ante, and they're not going to do it. And if they do, they're going to play very poorly post flop. So I think smaller sizing in ante is good. They're not going to 3-bet you enough. They're not going to flat enough. So I like small. So on this type of board, we just bet with 5s. Need some protection. Can go slightly bigger if you want. So this is the interesting part. He B75s, insta B75 the turn. I think it's always going to be a bluff, because if you're human, you need to have time to think about not leading and checking, because you have a boat and you want to check raise or you want to check call and let me bluff. So when he snap leads, he's not thinking about those decisions, which means he doesn't have a 4 and he's just always bluffing. He probably thinks the 4 is good for him, and when he snap bets, it looks super strong, but it's almost always the opposite from recreational players. So I'm just gonna call. Yeah, I'm just gonna call. Maybe he can raise. Raise is cool, but maybe click. I don't know. But he's always bluffing here. So he snap checks the river, I think. I think he gave up, but I snap check as well. I should also think about going for some value, because he could also have like a6 of spades, a7 of spades, those type of hands that will for sure 100% call me in this pool. So I should really think about it instead of snap checking 5s. And he has queen jack, and this hand would probably call as well if I chose a small sizing. So I made a mistake here. So in this hand, a 3-bet with ace queen. It's a pretty small size. When I 3-bet, it's not the correct size, but it's okay. I have a value hand I want them to call. And I get cold 4. I think this cold 4 is whatever, it's a recreational, right? But I think the sizing is a little too big for a cold 4. I think if he made it smaller, I would be in a tougher spot. Anyways, I'm just not gonna fuck around with the code 4 like on any site. Like the code 4 is just way too strong, and ace queen suited, like in theory it's a hand that does not fold if he has the right amount of bluffs and stuff, but when they choose the extra bigger size, it's very hard for it to be a bluff. If he made it like 25 blinds, like 28, I would be more interested. Even then, it's pretty marginal. Just like the general rule here is like, just don't fuck around with cold 4 bets from recreational players. I think even ace king is super marginal. Yeah, let's move on. Okay, this hand is pretty interesting. You might be able to learn something here. Queen 9 of spades against American recreational on my 3-bet. The sizing, it doesn't really matter here. It doesn't really matter too much because you do kind of want them to call. But folding is nice too because it's ante. So I actually don't know what the best sizing pre-flop here. It's okay. So on 3 deuce 4, at least one blind, like these type of bullshit, it's usually insanely weak. So I always raise. But let me be clear about one thing. If this is the first interaction ever, like this is the first time he's doing this to you, like 99% of the time he is extremely weak. But if he does this again to you in the future, it might not be. So keep that in mind. So I'm just gonna raise. I would raise any 2 here because any 2 cards is gonna have 2 overcards usually, or you have a pair. So yeah, like even though you're bluffing with no equity, like you have something just in case he calls. So I do like to watch timing tiles. I think it's extremely important. And when he does this pretty long tank, I'm even more confident he has a very bad hand. And it's weird because now we have the 9. Now we're going for value. But even if I didn't hit a 9, I would still keep bluffing. And I would also bluff the river as well if it misses. So he does the 1 blind thing again. Very confident he has a very weak hand. Except this time I'm going for value. So generally, when you're value betting versus recreational, your value bets and bluffing and bluff sizes should be different, unless you're playing a reg, of course. But this time it's one of the rare cases where my bluff size and value size is the same because he, even though he has a very weak hand, he still has a decent amount of equity. So I need to bet something like this. If I had the board extremely locked down, like let's say I had a set or 5-6 or something, I would go smaller. I might go like 15 blinds, 10 blinds, make him call everything. Like, but when I have this hand where it is kind of vulnerable, I will choose this size. And then on the river, I would pretty much jam for value on any card except for a diamond and any card that makes a straight. So in this last hand, I'm kind of spewing here, so I'm not afraid to admit it. But there's always some justification to your spew usually. So the Trap Lord XX, he opens his hand. Let me see. Yeah, he opens his hand and I call. It's the same guy earlier when I had the Queen 9 suited. So I thought he was like really bad, so it kind of made me want to call deuces, super early position. But my justification is people under squeeze, and if you hit a set, it's pretty nice. Okay, obviously it's pretty nice, but like people under squeeze and you're playing against like a super insanely bad rack. Maybe I should 3-bet instead actually, but I just call here because I want to play post flop in position with Trap Lord XX. So on this flop with the spade, it's pretty nice. Like, I think he bets, right? He bets half pot. Yeah, you can fold, but you're in position. You have a spade. You can bluff on any spade. And he's choosing half pot. Like, half pot is the most over bluff sizing from recreational ever. Like, if you want to like take away one thing from this video, like if recreational bets half pot, you should probably not fold. So that's what I do here. I don't fold. And again, I also said earlier in the video, like recreationals are extremely afraid of flushes. So if the spade hits and you have a spade as well and they check and you bet pot, like they're gonna fold so much. So that's another reason why, even if you like have nothing, you always have to think about like your bluffing equity as well. So the 5 is getting interesting, right? So I know he opens under the gun, but recreational players don't value bet enough. So if he does bet here, and he does, usually they're only repping like a queen or better, like queen jack or better, queen 10 or better. Recreational players don't know how to bet like 10s here or ace 9. So the value range for him is getting thinner and thinner, right? So that's like a justification for my spew, but it does make sense a little. Like his value range is getting smaller and smaller. We still beat bluffs. There's like ace king, like ace 10. There's like a million bluffs if you want to name them. He also bet half pot again. Like I said, half pot, the most over bluff size in the world for recreational players. So I just can't help it. Like I have to call, and on a spade I will bluff. Maybe on a 6 I will bluff. On an 8 I will bluff too. On a 10 I can bluff. Like there's so many cards that I can bluff on. And maybe if it breaks out, I just check, right? And then I win a lot as well. And also didn't talk about the scenario. If I hit a deuce, like that's insane too. So on the queen, like the queen is very nice for me to do stuff on. Not do stuff, but to just call on, because again, his value range is getting even smaller and smaller. So now like recreationals, so on this board you can probably value bet like ace 9. So if you're value betting ace 9, you're gonna be value betting 10s, jacks, queens, obviously jacks, kings, aces. But recreational players are not gonna find those value bets. They're only gonna find value bets with Queen X plus. So their value range is very, very narrow. And when it's very, very narrow, they're probably gonna have a lot of bluffs. They're gonna be bluffing too much. So I'm really curious with the deuces. Like, you're only repping like a queen plus now, so it's not much. There is a lot. It is credible. Like on a nitty site, they probably just have the value every time here. But when you're playing the private club game, I just want to call. He's bluffing Jack 10. It's pretty good. I think his sizings are obviously terrible, but I think bluffing the straight draw is better than the flush draw. But who knows? I think if he's bluffing, he should just play. He should just play for stacks, and not do this half pot shit. Obviously, he's a recreational player. He's not gonna commit his entire stack in a single raise pot with bluffs. Only I'm doing that shit. So yeah, that's a cool hand. Deuces. It's a bit of a fuck you play because I just got him with the queen 9 earlier, so I just wanted to like fuck him over again. That's like kind of the mindset, but yeah, it's a cool hand. Hope you guys learned something here.